A handy tool in mathematics as we go through is being able to know if a number is divisible by some other numbers. Now, generally, if we're looking at our single digits, so 2 to 10, if we're looking at those, then it's really important because you're going to have to come across them and say, well, is a number divisible? Does this number go into any other number? So we've got a few rules to follow. Some are easier, some are hard. Let's look at the easy ones first. 2 is probably very easy. So in the case of 2 here, if a number is divisible by 2, it's even. So all even numbers are divisible by 2. So even numbers end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. If you get a number and ends in any of those digits, then it must be divisible by 2. It's an even number is divisible by 2. The next, probably easiest one is 10. And 10 might be easier than 2 because really, and if any number ends in 0, it's divisible by 10. That's all you've got to look at. Look for those end digits. If that end digit ends in a 0, and it must be divisible by 10. Doesn't matter what the other digits do, they all must be these numbers are all divisible by 10. The next one is probably 5. So 5, a number that's divisible by 5 ends in 0 or it ends in 5. Now these are ones you've probably seen before. You've probably heard about these ones. They're probably the easiest ones to look at. So 5 goes in any number that ends in a 5 or ends in a 0. So it starts to get a little bit harder. Let's look at the next harder ones. It's probably 4 is the next level. So when we're looking at if a number's divisible by 4, what we want to do is go to the last 2 digits in the number. That's the key part here. The last 2 digits. So you're looking at the last 2 digits here. Okay, any number, just the last 2 digits. Really, that's because 100's divisible by 4. So once we get into the hundreds, it's divisible by 4 there. So if we're looking at the last 2 digits, 4 goes into 20. It does. So it must be divisible by 4 there. Similarly, we look at any number divisible by 8. So what numbers do 8 go into? Well, 8 will go, what we have to do is look at the last 3 digits. A little bit harder because you actually got to do probably a little bit more division to see, in this case, whether it's divisible by 8. But again, that's because 8 will go into 1,000. So it goes into 1,000 easily, so the thousands aren't going to matter. It's only whether the hundreds, tens and units, does 8 go into those ones. So that's reasonably hard, only for the fact that you have to do a bit of calculation. It's not as easy as just looking at a couple of digits. It's looking at 3 digits there that we have to look at. So we'll mention 7 at this point. Firstly, because there's not really a simple test for divisibility by 7. If you really want to know a divisibility test for 7, I can give you one. But really, it's not simple. You've got to do a lot of playing around with it. So we don't really go into a divisibility test for 7 as such. Now we want to look at 3. Okay. So if a number is divisible by 3, what we need to do, we've got a little trick here. What we need to do is actually go in and add the digits up. So if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3 itself, then 3 goes into it. So they give you an example here of 7 plus 9 is equal to 16. And so 3 does not go in evenly in 16. And so 79 is not divisible by 3. If I pick one that will be, and if we pick, let's say, 42. If I break down those digits, I'll get 4 plus 2. And I sum those digits, that gives me 6. Now 3 does go into 6. 3 goes into 6 twice, goes evenly. So that means 42 must be divisible by 3 because the sum of its digits is divisible by 3. So that's the trick for anything divisible by 3. Similarly, in the divisibility by 9, we sum the digits there. So 171, if we add the digits there, we get 1 plus 7 plus 1 gives us 9. 9 goes into 9. 8 plus 1 plus 2 plus 7 plus 5 plus 4. We add those up, gives us 27, which means it must be divisible by 9 as well, because 9 goes into 27 3 times. So 3 and 9 are ones where we're going to add the digits up. If the digits add to give us a number that's divisible by 3, then the original number is divisible by 3, and the same with 9. And numbers divisible by 9 if its digits is sum of its digits is divisible by 9. So that leaves us only one more, and the last one is 6. Now I left 6 till the end, not because it's too hard, I suppose, but only because I needed to know the divisibility test for 2 and for 3, because 6 is divisible by both 2 and 3. So if a number satisfies the divisibility test for 2, which is basically it's even, and the divisibility test for 3, then it must be divisible by 6 as well. So if you look at 48, 48 ends in 8, it's an even number, and 4 plus 8 equals 12. So that's 12 is divisible by 6, sorry, by 3, which means the whole thing is divisible by 6. 4,506, add the digits up. 4 plus 5 plus 0 plus 6 gives us 15, so it's even, and the sum of its digits is divisible by 3, so it's divisible by 2 and 3, which means the whole thing is divisible by 6. So there's our divisibility test. As we said, it's good things to know, because a lot of times you're going to have situations where you want to know whether a certain number is divisible by a particular number. And usually it's somewhere between 2 and 10. So learn these rules and be ready to do some questions in class with these.